Welcome to Top 10 Video Countdown, and today we're here to tell you 10 things that you didn't know about the Waltons. Before we begin, we publish numerous Top 10 videos every week, so be sure to click on the subscribe button below to be the first to see our latest videos. The Waltons was a television show about the life of a Depression-era family in Virginia's Blue Ridge Mountains. The show is seen from the point of view of eldest son John-Boy, who eventually goes to college, serves in World War II, and becomes a novelist. The first episode aired on September 14th, 1972, and it ran for 9 seasons. After the series was canceled by CBS in 1981, NBC aired 3 television movie sequels in 1982, with 3 more in the 90s on CBS. That's 6 movie sequels for 1 television show. In 2013, TV Guide ranked the Waltons number 34 on its list of the 60 best series of all time. The Waltons was a phenomenon, almost akin to Kiss or Star Wars. Kids even brought Waltons lunchboxes to school. There were Viewmasters, records, comic books, trading cards, cookbooks, and even dollhouses. Maybe those of you who weren't around at the time to see the Waltons are starting to understand what kind of an impact the show had at the time. So for this list, we're going to take a look at a few fun facts about one of TV's most beloved shows. Let's get started. Number 1. Lone Survivor. Richard Thomas was one of the only actors who made it into the weekly series. The pilot episodes of The Waltons was actually a 1971 made-for-TV movie called The Homecoming: A Christmas Story, and nearly everyone was recast.
Tonight, CBS proudly presents The Homecoming, a Christmas story by Earl Hamner Jr., a warm and inspiring all-family movie made especially for television. Starring Patricia Neal. The story of a family and a Christmas Eve that changed their lives forever.
Number 2. Midday Martinis. As wholesome as the show was, The Waltons wasn't without its problems. Ralph Waite, the actor who played patriarch John Walton, admitted that he turned to the bottle after his young daughter died of leukemia. During the early days of The Waltons, I was a wild man, the actor admitted before his death in 2014. The one-time Presbyterian minister went on to say, there was no such thing as a lunch without 3 or more martinis. When I finally got back to the set, I was pretty much out of things. Number 3. Erin gets sick. After leaving the Waltons, Mary McDonnell, who played middle sister Erin, opted for breast augmentation surgery. Following the surgery, the actress fell prey to a series of serious health complications, including lupus, for which she blamed the surgery. Number 4. The Walton House. The original set for the Waltons was dismantled over 30 years ago. However, a replica of the Walton House was created for use in various reunion specials. Fun fact, it remains on the Warner Brothers lot in Burbank to this day and was even used as recently as Gilmore Girls for the set of the Dragonfly Inn. Number 5. Goodnight John-Boy. If the Waltons is known for anything, it's the classic Goodnight John-Boy closing sequence. This was actually inspired by the bedtime tradition at the childhood home of the show's creator, Earl Hamner Jr. In a 2013 interview published by the Archive of American Television, Hammer stated, "Sometimes we would get carried away and say so many good nights that my father, who had to get up early in the morning, would say, 'All right, that's enough.'" In fact, several aspects of the show were based more than loosely on Hammer's family life in rural Virginia during the Great Depression.
Everybody quiet down now and get some sleep.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, Mama. Good night, Ben.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, Mama. Good night, Daddy.
Good night, children.
Good night, Daddy. Good night, Elizabeth.
Good night, John-Boy. Good night, Jim Bob. Good night, Jim Bob.
Good night, Jim Bob.
What's going on? I was asleep. What's everybody doing?
Good
Good night, Jim Bob.
Go back to sleep.
Number 6. More alcoholism. Michael Learned, who starred as Olivia Walton, may have struggled with alcoholism as well. Multiple reports indicate that she even showed up for her audition with a bottle of bourbon in her pocket. The actress, now 78, says that she hit rock bottom in 1977 and has been sober ever since, and we're rooting for her. Number 7. Call her Miss. Speaking of Michael Learned, who won 3 Emmy Awards during the show's run, some may remember that in the credits she was billed as Miss Michael Learned for the first 5 seasons. This was so that viewers would not be confused about her gender. Number 8. The Waltons theme. Does the theme to the Waltons sound a bit familiar? That is because it was composed by Jerry Goldsmith. Goldsmith wasn't just known for his movie scores, he also wrote the opening numbers to Barnaby Jones, Police Story, and Star Trek The Next Generation. Number 9. The Name Game. The name of the family only became the Waltons after Warner Brothers required Hammer to change it. He began to tell his family's story in the novel entitled Spencer's Mountain, but that had been adapted into a 1963 movie starring Henry Fonda and Maureen O'Hara. Why was the name changed from Spencer to Walton? We tried to find out, and no one's really sure. The name change isn't even mentioned in the book Goodnight, John-Boy. It is suspected that the show is much closer to creator Hammer's real life, with Spencer's Mountain only being loosely based on his life. Since the movie was changed and moved from Virginia to Wyoming, and even more dramatically from the Great Depression to the 60s, disassociation was most likely the culprit. Television execs probably didn't want to confuse viewers. The name was also believed to have been a copyright issue. Eventually, the studio Lorimar sold the distribution rights to Warner Brothers Television to avoid a lawsuit owing to the similarities between the series and Spencer's Mountain, which Warner Brothers owned. Warner Brothers later acquired Lorimar in 1989 and has continued to syndicate the series ever since. There is, however, some disagreement as to where the name actually came from. Earl Hamner Jr. says that there had been some Waltons in his family way back, and he also thought that the name Walton sounded sturdy, Virginian, and American. However, Fiedler Cook, the director of The Homecoming, claims he chose the name Walton from the signer of the Declaration of Independence, George Walton. Even the Waltons isn't immune from mysteries that may never be solved. Number 10. The Waltons phenomenon. The Waltons was huge. Some of you may have only seen it on reruns or have been too young to remember, but really huge. During its 9-year run on CBS, the program earned 2 Golden Globe Awards as well as an Emmy for Outstanding Drama Series. There were also 7 individual Emmy Awards for its stars, Michael Learned, Richard Thomas, Beulah Bondi, and Ellen Corby.